See, if your brother got killed in an alleyway by himself, and halfway across the world, hundreds of other people got killed, which one would hit you worse? See, we lost sight of humanity the moment we started comparing tragedies, because even if one person dies, it could ruin a whole family. I hope you're understanding me. See, everyone wants change until you actually have to get up and change things. When your Twitter signed out and your computer's on standby, do you stand out or do you stand by? If Martin Luther King was born today, would he be nothing more than a status with a YouTube page saying, I have a dream that one day my Twitter followers will hit 100K? Or would he stand for a change? See, let's pretend for a second that we actually want change and there's things that we're fighting for. If your mum was starving and you never had a penny, would you make a status or would you make a change? Most of my friends aren't on Twitter or Facebook. You really have to go outside to remember how their face looks. See, sometimes I feel helpless when I ask these questions. My lack of action makes me feel like I'm part to blame. Then I realize I got a platform. I could ask the question to spark the change. I always get asked why I never speak out through social networks. I've never been the type and type, but if it works, then it works. How many deaths are needed before we count it as news? Cause silence is almost as powerful as disregarding the truth. I almost made a poem slating the media, till I came to the realization that together we can teach places they couldn't dream of. And in the same breath we can slate the news, we can report it too. See, growing up I was taught about soldiers and what they bled for. Never taught about my people and what they... See, BBC released an article saying they never reported the 2,000 slaughtered in Nigeria because they weren't sure if it were 2,000 or 200. See, I'm not asking you to report incorrect facts. I'm saying, how can you pretend it never happened? 200 or 2,000, I mean, I understand they thought the numbers were distorted, but when does it become enough to be reported? See, I could use this poem to break down how the media is corrupt. Or I could take responsibility and say it's 2015 now. The media is us. Don't stop the recording, don't stop the recording. I've got a couple things I need to say. There's been a lot of people question me as to why don't I ever speak out on Twitter, etc., etc. When the most relevant subject usually comes out, usually I don't tend to know about it. I'm not one that really keeps in touch with what's being reported or what's the most relevant topic on Twitter at the time. So when I do speak out, I guess everything I do see is people fighting for points. Everyone's debating about who's right or who's ignorant, etc., etc. And more times I'm ignorant towards what the subject is. So I usually sit back and I'll try and understand things more and try to dive into it more and see what I can do personally, because to me, I guess speaking isn't always just words. Speaking sometimes is action. Sometimes speaking is jumping on a plane, flying to wherever you need to fly to and helping out who you need to help, or going down the road to you find out that there's homeless people struggling over there, see what you can do over there. There's a lot of things we can be doing. The issue with when your voice gets taken away, when the media are meant to be the voice of these other nations and they're not doing their job, is it becomes a difficult task to then figure out what you're meant to do without any information. And also another powerful thing is knowledge. And I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, in the same breath that I can stand here and say the media is this and that, I think I've come to a stage where I know the media is this and that. I know they don't always report the news right. And sometimes they completely disregard certain countries and certain places. So with the platform that I've got, I'm trying to use it to explain these things to you, to try to get information across to you. The people massacred in Nigeria, people massacred in France, the people massacred all around the world. These are things that conversation might bring action. That's the hope. That's all I want in this poem, that conversation brings action. True. It's Nego.